The theory that Zestial might secretly be Cain has been echoing across the Hasbin Hotel fandom, gaining volume with every new episode. It's one of those ideas that refuses to sit quietly in the corner, partly because it ties the show's dark humor to some of the oldest mythology in human history. And before anything else is said, one disclaimer is necessary. This entire exploration is driven by fun, imagination, and narrative pattern hunting. No one is accusing the Hazbin writing team of secretly studying Kabbalistic manuscripts by candlelight. What follows is simply mythic archaeology layered onto a cartoon we all love. In the show, Abel has already appeared, the first human soul to make it into heaven. But being heaven's first citizen doesn't mean he was Adam and Eve's firstborn. In the book of Genesis, Abel is the gentle shepherd, while his older brother Cain is the farmer who strikes the earth and tills the soil. Both bring offerings to God, but God favors Abel's sacrifice, and in a rage of envy, Cain murders him, history's first recorded killing. For this sin, Cain isn't executed. He is punished with life. Marked by God, he is cursed to wander the world without rest, unable to be killed, forced to live with what he has done. Later tradition claims that Cain went on to build the first human city. And with that detail, the doors of speculation swing open. When Zestial arrives in Hasbin Hotel, overlords who normally terrify everyone stand aside like nervous schoolchildren. He's described not just as powerful, but ancient, a relic from before the era when Alastor wiped out the old generation of overlords. If Cain was the first human to ever die and descend into damnation, then he would have had more time than anyone else to forge power in the Pride Ring. Combine that with the fact that biblical Cain was a city builder, and that Pentagram City feels like a location older than hell itself, and it becomes tempting to imagine Zestial not merely as a long-standing overlord, but possibly as the literal founder of Hell's first city. Whether or not the show intends this connection, it's easy to see why fans are intoxicated by the theory. What deepens the fascination is the morality of the characters. Zestial looks like a nightmare stitched together from fire and spite, the kind of demon who should kick puppies as a hobby. And yet, he behaves with startling principle. When Carmilla considers building a heaven-destroying weapon, Zestial is not thrilled or impressed. He is disappointed. He believes Carmilla is better than that. He expects moral conviction even from the wicked. Meanwhile, Abel, heaven's golden boy, is endlessly gentle but nearly devoid of internal direction. He hates making decisions, avoids responsibility, and becomes morally neutral not out of malice but out of passivity. He is sweet without being strong. The visual symbolism of heaven and hell flips. The sinner has a spine. The saint has none. This reversal becomes even richer when compared with obscure Jewish mysticism. Certain Kabbalistic texts describe Cain and Abel not just as individuals, but as archetypal soul groups that reincarnate across history. Cain's lineage is said to contain tremendous good, even though evil dominates early in the process. Since Cain committed the first wrongdoing, his descendants begin the work of correction, called rectification, before anyone else. In this lens, the first to fall becomes the first to rise. The soul that descends the lowest is ultimately capable of ascending the highest. That idea resonates powerfully with Hasbin Hotel's cosmology, where hell is not merely a dumpster for sinners, but a furnace where redemption becomes evolution. It also explains why Zestial, if he were Cain, has already developed an internal moral code, even while remaining a ruler of demons. If he wanted, he might already be able to ascend, but waits instead. Perhaps not for personal salvation, but for something greater to unfold. In the end, whether Zestial is actually Cain doesn't matter as much as the thematic shape of the theory. The show repeatedly tells us that the fall is not the end. It is the beginning of something bigger. Zestial might represent this. Cain might represent this. But the character who most clearly embodies it is Charlie, daughter of the fallen, destined not merely to restore heaven, but perhaps to surpass it. Hasbin Hotel is built on the idea that sometimes the only way to rise higher than the angels is to start in hell. It is impossible to know yet whether Zestial truly is Cain, or whether the parallels are simply delicious coincidence. But analyzing Hasbin Hotel through the lens of ancient mythology does something incredible. It proves that this quirky musical demon show has the narrative weight to carry even the oldest stories of humanity. And honestly, that synthesis, Fandom plus theology plus chaos is what makes theorizing about this series so much fun.